Well, we continue keeping you company this Ramadan, and it's our segment Voices from Palestine, and that is courtesy of the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, who have partnered with us to bring you all these voices. And today's voice is a local voice. We're talking to Kauthar Hussain, who is a second year master's health science student at Wits University, affiliated with Wits, PSC Gauteng, and also Healthcare Workers for Palestine, currently serving as chairperson at the WITS Palestine Solidarity Committee. Are we talking about students mobilizing globally for Palestine, championing for free speech, for human rights? And we've seen what has taken place in the United States of America, Khalil Mahmoud at the campus in Colombia. And these are obviously students right across the entire world that are mobilizing, that have actually seen through this genocide. They've seen through the supporters and the proponents of this genocide. And this is the reason why young people are coming out in their numbers to support the cause for Palestine. Sister Kauthar, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome and Jazakallah khairan so much for your time.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me.
Yes, so Sakautar, I just want to talk a bit before we get into certain specific questions. Young people obviously have made a huge impact as far as Palestine is concerned, certainly since the beginning of this genocide and when this genocide had unfolded. And we've seen university campuses in particular. This is where I mentioned the name of Khalil Mahmoud, but also many students right across the entire world, where they become hotbeds of protests against this brutal Zionist occupation and this genocide. And South Africa is no different.
Yes. So, one of the most disturbing legacies of the Feast Must Fall movement at WITS, or yeah, across the country, has been the militarization of campus spaces, where during Feast Must Fall protests, police and private security forces were deployed, and they used rubber bullets, stun grenades, any sort of violence. And instead of engaging with our demands as students, WITS management now immediately calls private security and saps riot police whenever we organize protests. A very recent one was 2021, where Mtokozisi Ntumba was a bystander student who was shot during one of the protests, and he was coming out of one of the clinics. His murder highlighted how state violence disproportionately affects bodies, whether they're students or workers here in South Africa. Another form of brutality that we face here on campuses are protests over housing shortages and food insecurity, where we are met with force and students are removed forcibly from university spaces, which are meant to be public spaces. And Palestinian students are no different, or pro-Palestinian activists are no different. We also face repression as WITS management attempts to suppress political activism by labeling it either disruptive or divisive. And since fees must fall, universities, especially here, including WITS, they have adapted their tactics to suppress dissent without necessarily using visible violence. And one of the main ways they do this is by criminalizing student leaders or arbitrary suspensions and expulsions of student activists, weaponizing disciplinary codes where activists are accused of violating university policies simply for protesting. And some pro-Palestinian students have faced disciplinary hearings, and others have been threatened with either suspension or expulsion. And currently, there is concern that upcoming Palestine solidarity protests could face similar repressive measures, especially as pressure from pro Israeli groups increase here on campus. And we see it visibly every day. And with administration, they have found a way to intimidate students. They send us threatening emails to warn us of the consequences of activism. I mean, just last month during the hunger strike that's currently occurring on campus, members of the protest circulated a petition demanding that all unregistered students be allowed to register. However, the most overwhelming response they received was fear from students reluctant to engage with WIT's administration. And granted, because we were sent a month ago, all of us were sent an email threatening us. Um, Whether they use legal or interdicts, they even found ways to seek court orders to prevent leaders on campus from mobilizing. Going on a rant here, but there's also surveillance and intimidations, which is very prominent. We are monitored and our movements are tracked on campus. There is continuous online surveillance where our activities on social media are closely watched. We've been told that we've often been told what can and cannot be posted in non-educational social groups, so much so that the dean of health science had to intervene in one of the cases. Just last month, a drone was spotted following us on campus. And this raises significant questions. Did WITS get permission to use such surveillance method? Who sanctioned these surveillance methods? And which judge signed it off? It's just reoccurring, alarming questions where we do not have responses for. And the criminalization of protest has a chilling effect, which discourages us from participating in activism for fear of either academic or legal consequences. And
Yes. Yes,
something
Sister
that is
Kausar. In fact, in fact, to a large extent, these were one or two. In fact, the two questions I was going to ask with regard to what students are currently mobilizing around, and also in terms of student voices being suppressed as well. Those are two issues which you've answered to a large extent. In terms of the challenges that the students are faced with at this point in time. But again, unlike we've seen now what has happened in the United States of America, okay, where we've seen what has happened with Columbia University and the handing over of Khalil Mahmoud. Now I'm sure South Africa a very very different scenario, despite the strong Zionist lobby in this country, despite trying to maintain a strong presence even on university campuses, to speak on behalf of the Zionist entity. South Africa, a very different kettle of fish. And again, we've got a government that is supportive of the Palestinian cause, but also there is a lot of opportunity, I would say, and perhaps you could just lead me on this one, to build a national student movement based on the values that you speak of: free speech, human rights, access to education, and also when it comes to global issues like the Palestinian cause.
to add to that, right? Student resistance has been throughout history, it has been existing. We continue to link Israeli apartheid to South African apartheid, despite the challenges that we face here, and arguing that WITS, like many institutions, benefited from apartheid era oppression and now continues to support Israeli apartheid through academic partnerships. And as you've said, as South Africa, we're leading the ICJ genocide case against Israel. We are pressuring the university, as with PSC, and many solidarity groups on campus to take a moral stance, just as students did in the 1980s when they fought for divestment from apartheid South Africa. And we know WITS has a long history of student resistance, particularly during the anti apartheid movement, where I believe the 1970s and 80s, with students organized protests against apartheid policies, police brutality, and racial segregation, where NUSAS, I believe, NUSAS, was also formed and played a key role into Steve Biko's organizations. So the repression we face today is it's not new. It is part of a longer history of efforts to silence student movements. But it's also shown that our activism has the power to shift national politics just as it did during the apartheid regime. And right now, yes, there are students that are protesting, but I would like to call out specifically being a Muslimah, the Muslim community. As a Muslim community, we have a mandate directly from Allah that clearly states, وَأَمُرْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَانْهَى عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. And it's to do good, command what is good, and forbid what is evil. My question is, why are we ignoring this direct command? Why am I not seeing Muslim students on campus standing in solidarity with the oppressed and marginalized communities currently on this campus? How are we attending classes knowing that the students sitting next to us may have slept in a library, lab, or even a bathroom? Which is happening right now? And another question is, what happened to the teachings of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He commanded us to stop injustice by either hand, mouth, or at the very least by heart. And as Muslims, we need to redefine our understanding of what is expected of us. Husnul khuluq holds such weight in Islam, yet we seem to ignore or redefine it to fit our own convenience. We have been blessed with homes, food, education, and even this beautiful deen, Alhamdulillah. But we must ask ourselves, are we truly making use of it for the sake of justice? And I think I'm directing this to all the Muslims that are currently on campus. There's a protest that's currently happening on Empire and Yale Road. And I haven't seen Muslim students just as I was coming up. What happened to the Muslim community? And why are we not speaking out against any injustice that's occurring?
Well, I think, obviously to answer it, I think we need to get out of our comfort zone, number one, because I think we are just too comfortable as Muslim communities, as a Muslim society. And this is, we can even look at this on a global level, where you're looking at all the Muslim world, you're looking at the Arab countries, 25 Arab countries can't come together, can't get one bottle of water into Gaza without the permission of the Zionists. And today, as we've seen last night, the bombing, the killing started once again in the month of Ramadan, and not a single one of them could actually stop. In fact, some of the bases that have been used are American bases in the Arab countries. So what I'm saying is, like you mentioned, we are in the comfort zone. The Arabs are in the comfort zone. The Muslim Ummah is in a comfort zone, while our brothers and sisters are actually starving in many parts around the world. Your own neighbor could be starving. Our brothers and sisters are being killed. They're being oppressed. Gaza, the genocide. So all of that, Sister Kota, at the end of the day, again, what I'm saying is we need to get out of that comfort zone, number one, so that we can start identifying with all the injustices and the oppression that is taking place. Sister Kota, we're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, we will continue. So we just need to pay a few bills. We'll be back.
Okay. Jazakallah.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings, from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041-0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
More than 800 million people around the world live in deep poverty, uncertain of where the next meal will come from. For those on the brink of starvation, a food pack means survival, dignity, and hope. Send food. Send kindness. Be the reason a family does not go hungry. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Well, we continue with the broadcast this afternoon on Salam Media on the Iftar Drive. I'll be with you right until 5:30 before we hand you over to Maulana Yunus Kawanga, who will take you through to the spiritual hour of the Iftar on today, the 17th of Ramadan. And we continue with my guests this afternoon on Voices from Palestine. We've got student second year, a Master's Health Sciences student from Wits. We're joined by Sister Kauthar Hussain. Sister Kauthar, just to continue, and I think just before the break, we were just talking about being in a comfort zone. And I think at the end of the day, we need to get out of that comfort zone. We need to increase our mobilization, not only locally, but globally as well. And people that are well placed in doing this are students, because we are in this age of technology. We know students are so deep rooted into technology, into the digital age as well. And this is what is actually required. And I'd like your thoughts on this whole issue on mobilization, but also on this level of consciousness, on how do we connect with these struggles that we have both locally and globally.
I don't have all the responses for that, right? How do we connect? We are trying here as Wits PSC. We do try to educate the students. We have teachings. We bring in different people. We have film screenings. We try every intervention, but we cannot wake people that are not waking up themselves. I wish I had a response for that. However, I believe the struggle continues. We need to conscientize the students on campus continuously, speaking about it, teaching them about it, calling them out. It's a it's a continuous da'wah, I believe. Just every day, even if we change one person's mind, alhamdulillah, as long as we continue the struggle. I think this is where the ulama come into play, where the ulama need to educate the Muslim students that this is a responsibility that has been placed upon us. This is a mandate that has been given to all of us equally, and we should be speaking out against injustices happening here right at home and across the globe. And I know many people might say, or many students might even say, hey, what am I supposed to do about something that's happening across the globe? How is a single post helping? You are educating one person. One person is going through your post, and that's it. That's the hidayah that the person might have needed. Here on campus, we have so much systematic silencing of student voices and more even Palestinian voices. And the more voices we have that are fighting against the Wits management, the better we are. We can't be having 10 students that are protesting whilst majority are saying nothing about it. And there's 38,000 students on this campus. I believe if we are all banded together under one umbrella, fighting against capitalism or imperialism, and putting aside our differences, we will definitely break down the systematic oppression that we have. I mean, we are being taught by a Zionist a professor, an associate professor. How is it that as a Muslim, you are okay with this person being a psychologist in an area that you are studying? Why are you silent about it? Why are you going to your engineering class knowing that this particular lecturer is, or she was part of IDF? What happened to you? What happened to your heart as a Muslim? And then as South African nation, why is this person not being persecuted for this? I mean, I thought that was what South Africa said. So it's just, I don't have responses. I have more questions to the answers that you, but I have more questions to the answer that you're requesting. I apologize for that, but I honestly
No, it's
do not.
fine. No, we understand now. We understand, Sister Kauthar, because obviously, I think the answers, obviously, and I think to a large extent, you did provide certain answers. And again, you mentioned that where is that mentorship of that of that youth? You mentioned the ulama, the scholars of Deen. We've got many intellectuals. Uh, where is the think tank in the Muslim community to motivate, the community, the young people, and we know the youth are our future. All of that at the end of the day needs to come together. And, this is what we've seen through media as well over the years as well, that, we need to obviously take media to another level as well, where we need to engage with young people, we need to engage with society, we need to engage with scholars, with academics, right across the entire board. And it is through those levels of engagement this is where we will sit down and we'll make progress as well. So I think, by asking those questions, you've actually answered those questions as well, to a certain level. But we hope that, this obviously has opened up an area for further discussion, for further debate, and particularly for us internally, for us as a Muslim community, to internalize and ask these questions to ourselves. And let's see how we can actually take this forward. Actually, so I think this is very, very important. And this is exactly what we've seen in the past. And you made reference to the apartheid era, where students were in the forefront of community mobilization, but together with the community and students all coming together, this is now we've seen what we've done, and at the end of the day, it brought out an end to the injustices of apartheid and segregation in this country. And once again, when it comes to common issues, when it comes to issues where there is unity in purpose, we need to be together, we need to stand together. But again, one hand washes the other. The youth coming together with the scholars, with the academics, with everybody else. And this is where we're going to see success, inshallah. Okay, well, Sister Kauthar, Jazakallah for that, and also for your time with us this afternoon, right here on Salam Media, inshallah. Looking forward to once again another session tomorrow, Voices from Palestine, and that is courtesy of the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, once again arranging Kauthar Hussein with us this afternoon. And with that, the time is just gone. 6 minutes past 5. We're heading for the Asr Adhan and the Asr Salah. We've got one more interview to come before we end off this particular segment, before we hand you over to Maulana Yunus Kawanga, and that is with Penny Appeal South Africa. We will be joined by the CEO, Shanaz Parak, immediately after we come back at around 17:15, inshallah.